Happy New Year everyone, it's Craig from Wookie Video here, returning to shine a light on classic movies, television, games and music. After a recent poll on my channel page, I'm thrilled to announce that you all voted for me to highlight a special movie that holds a place in all of our hearts. And it's Boris Sagal's apocalyptic science fiction classic, The Omega Man, which was originally released back in 1971. So for those who aren't aware, this is what it's all about. Robert Neville, a doctor due to an experimental vaccine, is the only survivor of an apocalyptic war waged with biological weapons. The plague caused by the war has killed everyone except for a few hundred deformed nocturnal people who call themselves the Family. But is Robert Neville truly the only survivor? So now it's 53 years since this first appeared on the big screen, and despite being very popular on television in the 1980s, it's rarely seen now. So the question remains, does it still hold up today? And secondly, would today's kids dig it? Well, there's only one way to find out as I serve my usual 5 reasons why we still love it, some funky facts you probably didn't know about it, and mention a few factors that possibly don't hold up, just to get any first-time viewers in the right mindset. Hey, it's all about embracing the good, the bad and the ugly, isn't it? Hey, now there's another great movie. But for today, it's all about Chuck himself. So let's get on with this. Intro, please. Number 5, Ron is the Bomb. So let's first set the stage with the iconic musical backdrop. Ron Granger's theme for the movie is an auditory time capsule that perfectly captures the essence of the era. Filmed in October and November 1970, this is the dawn of the 70s. It was the hangover from flower power, the moon landings, the war in Vietnam was still raging, and the world was still reeling from the horrors caused by the Manson clan. So we open musically and visually on the gentle A Summer Place, but we soon slide into Ron Granger's lush, haunting, somber theme tune that not only contributes to the film's atmosphere at that point in time, but it also lingers in your mind long after the credits roll. I mean, that score as Charlton Heston screeches around the empty streets of a decaying Los Angeles is just beautiful, iconic, and it seems to capture the loneliness of its central character. The widest soundtrack is a sonic masterpiece dripping with atmosphere that underscores the tension and drama, making it a standout reason to revisit the film today. After years of not being available, the soundtrack is now streamable, but a little harder to find on vinyl or CD, so if you do see a copy, be sure to pick it up. And here's a fun fact, did you know that Ron Granger, the composer of the film's score, also created the iconic theme for Doctor Who and Tales of the Unexpected? His talent extended beyond the big screen, leaving an indelible mark in television history. Reason 4. Interracial romance breaking boundaries. One aspect that makes The Omega Man stand out even more in hindsight is its portrayal of interracial romance. The film explores themes of racial tension and identity in its post-apocalyptic setting. The social commentary adds depth and relevance to the narrative, and in 1971 this was a groundbreaking move that challenged societal norms. Although it previously had occurred in TV Star Trek and movies such as Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and 100 Rifles, it arguably wasn't done as naturally and beautiful as it was in The Omega Man. Charlton Heston's character Robert Neville engages in a romantic relationship with Rosalind Cash's character Lisa. This progressive portrayal is a testament to the film's willingness to break down barriers and offer audiences a glimpse into a more inclusive future. Fun fact, actress Rosalind Cash was very uneasy before her love scene with Charlton Heston, and she reported that it just felt so strange to think about screwing Moses. Reason 3, a classic source material adaptation. Dive deeper into the film's DNA and you will discover that The Omega Man is not just a standalone cinematic gem, it's a compelling adaptation of Richard Matheson's classic novel I Am Legend. The film adds its own unique twist to the post-apocalyptic narrative and explores the themes of isolation, survival and the human condition in the face of a global pandemic. Despite being an iconic classic that is revered by so many science fiction fans, it wasn't embraced by everyone, and one of its critics was Richard Matheson himself, who reported that the movie was so far from his book, it didn't even bother him. Now, I'm a huge fan of the novel and I've read it so many times, and I kind of agree with Matheson. To be honest, I don't really connect them either. The producers of the film decided to alter the source material and incorporate some of the themes of the day. There's no sight of those terrifying vampire creatures, the dust storms, or my favourite character, Ben Cortman. Come out, Neville! Instead, a roped mutant cult who act as a very thinly disguised nod to the Manson family. There's also the odd religious overtone, especially with Neville in the fountain, which is clearly reminiscent of Christ on the cross. But I still love this film, I've got to say. Fun fact, Charlton Heston had read Matheson's novel on an airplane coming back to California, and he was very interested in a modern adaptation of the book. He was totally unaware that the fact that it had already been made into a film long before, and that was The Last Man on Earth in 1964 with Vincent Price. Reason 2, a time capsule aesthetic. So if you're a fan of retro aesthetics, the Omega Man is a visual feast. It encapsulates the post-60s era in Los Angeles, showcasing a city transformed by both societal shifts and a threat of a global pandemic. From the fashion to the architecture, every frame serves as a snapshot to a bygone era, immersing viewers in a visually striking time capsule. One of my favourite scenes is when Neville visits that cinema to watch Woodstock. What a brilliant visual juxtaposition that is, seeing thousands of hippies celebrating and coming together while he watches it alone in a decaying cinema as the last man on Earth.
No, they sure don't make pictures like that anymore.
Fun fact, forget CGI? The film's depiction of a deserted Los Angeles was achieved by filming in the early hours of the morning to capture the city's emptiness. It's a testament to the filmmaker's dedication to creating an authentic, post-apocalyptic atmosphere. But you look closely, you will see some pedestrians caught on camera, and even a few working traffic lights. So now we reach the #1 slot, why the Omega Man is so special to me, and no doubt to you. So let's go right ahead. Chapter 1, Chuck. During the late 1960s and early 70s, Charlton Heston did a string of post-apocalyptic movies, including Planet of the Apes and Soylent Green, which I both love. But at the heart of the Omega Man is his commanding performance as Robert Neville. Now, I've always been a fan of his screen presence, even if he proved to be a little controversial in his later life with some of his views. His portrayal elevates the character beyond the standard action hero, bringing depth and vulnerability to the role. His charismatic presence anchors the film, making Neville a relatable and empathetic protagonist in the face of an unravelling world. Fun fact, despite looking like an easy rider, Charlton Heston had never rode a motorcycle before this film and had to learn for the part. Can you believe it? Okay, so the Omega Man isn't perfect, nor is it trying to be the greatest movie ever made. I mean, some parts of it feel a little clunky, overwritten, with maybe a little bit too much emphasis on religious overtones that might let it down a little. But what it does achieve is a super cool, funky aesthetic that leans a little more to high camp, but that's why I love it so much. Now, I personally prefer the first half of the movie, with Neville exploring the decaying streets of LA alone, talking to himself and his chess companion. But there's some truly iconic lines in there as well, such as, "There's no phones ringing, damn it!" So if you haven't seen it and love the warm, cozy feel of these vintage science fiction classics, then you can do no wrong here. And if you have seen it, well, give it another watch, why not? So, do you love the Omega Man? Do you agree with my thoughts? Have I missed something special? Why not let me know in the comments below? I'm all ears. So until next time, thanks for watching Wiki Video, and hasta la vista!